Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And it's the month of November, and it's a very, very important month that we celebrate National Family Caregivers Month. And what does that mean? That means if you're a family caregiver and you're taking care of a loved one, you're there for the first time. I think it's a brand new initiative. We are recognizing all of the things that family caregivers do for our loved ones. And so as we are obviously supporting caregivers the whole month of November, we're going to be talking to caregivers. And we're so thrilled to start out this month with an amazing author. And for those of you that are watching on YouTube, the name of the book is called Successfully Navigating Your Parents' Senior Years. And it's written by our guest today, Star Bradbury. And Star, you are, I have to say, welcome to the show, number one. And number two is, I have to tell you, and I kind of insinuated, but we at Answers for Elders, we get authors, saying, I wrote a book about this. I wrote a book about that. We want to have you on the show. I don't do that very often for the main reason that they don't measure up to what I want. And when I saw your book and I thought, wow, I have never, and this is to all of my listeners out there that know someone that is caring for a loved one, or know someone that has senior parents, but you don't necessarily know what the future is going to look like. It's not if, but it's going to be when that time comes. I strongly recommend this book. So Star Bradbury, welcome to Answers for Elders. And thank you for writing an amazing book.
What a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be on the show and being November 1st. National Family Caregivers Month. Really, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we're thrilled that you're here to kick it off, because I think oftentimes family caregivers, they're the unsung heroes. They're the ones that are in the background, that are taking care and holding all the pieces in place. And yet everything around their world is crazy because they're juggling a job, they're juggling a career, they're dealing with hardships at home, financial setbacks. They experience a 40% job loss as they ramp up the care to a loved one, which equates to long-term care benefits that they lose, and all of those things. So obviously, you have been in this space for a long time, but I'm curious, what caused you to write the book?
Well, that really is a great question. And I know this sounds a little strange, but I couldn't not write it. I really got so inspired to collect my 25 years of experience in the real world of working within the senior living industry that I felt I needed to collect this information in a book and pass it on. At some point in your life, you're asking yourself, how do I pay it forward? How do I help other people cope with the challenges? And I was so familiar with the challenges working in senior living. I ran an assisted living facility. I ran a memory care facility. I worked in a life care community for 18 years. I had my own sets of parents and relatives, and I saw how challenging it is, Suzanne, and how many things you're thrown into without a clue.
Well, and I think I can go back to my first experience when all of a sudden I was told my mom is going to be released from the rehab center and they're releasing her to assisted living. And I had 1 week left to find a place to move her so that she had a place to go to.
I had that happen to me too.
Yeah. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, I don't even know where to begin. Number one, I didn't know how to pick anything. I didn't know what questions to ask. I was completely lost. And I find out with a lot of families that they wait until an emergency happens, like I had to, right? And they don't even know where to begin. So I guess my next question to you is that since you've been in this space, is this common? Number one, is my story similar? And then number two is, when should someone like an adult child start planning for their aging years?
Well, first of all, it's so common. And that was, again, another reason that compelled me to write the book. I saw it happen daily. Plus, it happened to me. I got a call. My mom was in rehab after a fall. And I initially had thought, I'm on top of this. I asked the social worker, the admission person, how long do you think my mom will be here? I'm working full time. I still have kids at home. They said 3 weeks. So I'm thinking I have 3 weeks, but no, I got a call saying, listen to this, your mom is uncooperative. That was no surprise. She's not
very common.
Yes, she's not willing to do any of the physical therapy. Consequently, we can't keep her here because how can we bill for therapy? She's refusing. And so she pretty much told them, they could all go to hell, and she wasn't going to get up, and she didn't feel like it. So I can laugh about it now, but believe me, when I got that call saying we're discharging her in 2 days, and they didn't say to assisted living, because really at that point, my sisters and I had to make a very difficult decision that she could not go home.
Right.
Why? She fell 3 times in one day. My stepfather called 911 3 times. We thought he would pass away first. That is not what happened. We knew he couldn't manage her care anymore. So she went to skilled nursing. But this is the kind of overwhelm that people and families are thrown into. And I think what's so difficult is I don't judge the families that wait till a crisis, because their story is going to be like yours and mine, meaning they're already so maxed out and so stressed out, managing their own lives and their jobs. Like, when are you going to, I think I have an extra 5 hours this week to go shop assisted living. Or I think and actually they don't even know what assisted living is. Let's back up.
Well, and I think the other thing that families do is they feel like they don't want to, quote unquote, interfere. They want to be, and it's the dynamic between the child and the parent, because you're kind of feeling like parents, especially in my parents' generation, they're very prideful.
Yes.
They don't necessarily tell their vulnerabilities to their children.
Correct.
They tend to sugarcoat everything, like, oh, everything's fine. But and we as adult children don't necessarily know what to look for if in a home. And so what happens is I think it's kind of a perfect storm that we stand off because we have a parent that's that is telling us to leave him alone, and there's that pride factor. And what have you found that that's the case?
It is. And one of the second question that you asked me that I really want to address was, what's the right age to sit down and talk with your parents? Because in my book, I really stress the earlier, the better, meaning even before your parents are retired. Now, why would I say that? Long before a crisis, long before you see any even sign of deteriorating health. One, I stress how important it is, Suzanne, to create and establish a pattern of communicating, so that when it becomes about more difficult things, you already have an established communication. You have what I call the conversation is already going. For example, you might sit down with someone, a mom or a dad, or even a loved one. It could be your adopted family, right? Your family of choice rather than family of origin, but people you might be in a caregiving role for. And you would say things like, gosh, I know that you're only 60 or 65, but as you look ahead, mom and dad, these are the super soft early questions. What are you thinking about when you retire?
In
your hometown? Have you thought about moving closer to me? Which of course you would only say if you really mean that. Or
and
have you thought about moving somewhere else?
And you know what? I really want to end this segment to remind our readers, Star's book, Successfully Navigating Your Parents' Senior Years. And Star, how do we get your book?
Well, it's available on every single website, certainly Amazon, but any book site. So it is also in Audible format. And what I recommend people do seriously is get the book, read it. If you're the adult child, make sure you read it. encourage your siblings, or better yet, buy the book for them. And then give your parents a copy. Or it could, what I like to say, Suzanne, anyone can initiate this conversation. Meaning the adult parent could say, I bought this book, I read it, I'm giving it to my kids. Let's have a conversation. Let's develop a plan together.
Perfect. And Star and I, we're going to be back talking more about the book and what's most important to families coming up after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.